Before you can succeed as an adult, you must first identify, accept, and heal your childhood wounds. Hi everyone, welcome to Echoes of Love. My name is Jack and I am a spiritual companion. All unpleasant experiences we have as children shape us profoundly as we get older. Numerous studies have proven that the events of our childhood, both happy and unpleasant, have long term consequences in our life. The environment we grow up in has a profound impact on our self esteem and how we process all emotions, how we recover, what we select, and how we see everything and everyone in the world. When we are repeatedly put into stressful situations, we develop an unbalanced perception of life by adolescence. We may begin by lacking trust, feeling insecure, and fearing what might happen. Our reactions and coping methods get distorted as a result. A healthy person who is subjected to trauma may cope but is dead inside. Later in life, when the individual enters maturity, they may react to the trauma in a healthy manner, resulting in post traumatic development. Coping and responding to trauma may be unpleasant for those in turmoil and in an aggressive environment, leading to a post traumatic stress disorder, addiction, and in most instances, a life of instability and suffering.
Now, Mr. Depp, I'd like to turn a bit to your upbringing. We heard a bit from your sister Christy last week, but can you please tell the jury in your own words about your childhood upbringing?
I had a very interesting childhood, one that I thought was normal until a certain age. My mother, I was born in Kentucky, and then we moved, in which we moved around quite a lot when I was a kid. So you were always my mom had this, her feet were on fire and she had to move, so we moved constantly. So you were always the new kid, and that wasn't ever particularly pleasant. Then we moved to Florida, South Florida, when I was about 7 or 8. And again, moved several times. But my mother was quite unpredictable. She was very unpredictable. She had the ability to be as cruel as anyone can be with all of us. That is to say, my sister Christy and my brother Danny and my sister Debbie, and also my father. So, essentially, she could become quite violent, and she was quite violent, and she was quite cruel, and though there was physical abuse, certainly, which could be in the form of an ashtray being flung at you, it hits you in the head, or you'd get beat with a high heel shoe or a telephone or whatever's handy. So in our house, there was no, we were never exposed to any type of safety or security. The only thing that one could do, really, was to try to stay out of the line of fire. I started to be able to observe, and I could start to see when she was about to head into a situation where she was going to get riled up, and somebody was going to get it. Generally, it was me.
Mr. Depp, you mentioned that your mother could be cruel. How could she be cruel?
The various categories, I suppose, there's physical violence, of course, there's physical abuse, to which she was, that was a constant. That was just a constant, you know. We were all somewhat shell-shocked, you know, even if she just walked past us, you'd sort of shield yourself because you didn't know what was going to happen. Excuse me. And so there was the physical abuse, which was a constant. There was quite a lot of verbal abuse. There was quite a lot of name calling and bullying. You know, making fun of whatever defect, you know, one might have. You know, if my brother wore glasses, I was born with a very strange, it was a very rare thing in my eye, as the back of the lens is spherical, normally is spherical, so in this eye it isn't normal. This eye, I was born with a more conical lens, so my brain never learned to see out of my left eye, and they noticed when I was about 3, 4, that I had a lazy eye, a wandering eye, and she would call me cockeye, one eye, anything she could get to demean, humiliate. The verbal abuse, the psychological abuse was almost worse than the beatings, because the beatings were just physical pain, and the physical pain you learn to deal with, you learn to accept it, you learn to deal with it. But the psychological and emotional abuse, that's what kind of tore us up, I think.
What about, Mr. Depp, what have you learned from your experience in your childhood and observing your father in your childhood?
I learned that I was wrong about my first impressions of his exit from the family. Very wrong. And I'll tell you one thing that I learned that was one of the best lessons I believe I've ever learned in my life, ever could learn in my life, was based on my experiences as a child and what I'd seen and experienced, I knew exactly how to raise children. When my girl Vanessa got pregnant, I knew exactly how to raise children, which was to do the opposite of what they did, of what Betty Sue did. Never raise your voice in front of the children, never. Screaming out the word no to them. I never wanted to tell my kids no. I wanted to tell them that I wanted to show them that there were options. You don't have to stick the coat hanger in the electrical socket. You know, saying no is an abrupt thing, but to talk to them and say, if you understand the repercussions of something, then you won't go there.
We must intentionally reject being victims and begin living completely in the present moment, accepting responsibility for the next chapter of our lives. I'll see you again soon on my next video. And before I forget, may each one of us be an echo of love to one another. If you like this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. See ya!